Lowest batting average in a season. Chris Davis set the record for lowest batting average in modern MLB history when he finished with a 168 average in 2018 while playing with the Baltimore Orioles. The thing is, Davis was actually a solid player for a few years, and in 2013 and 2015, he even led the league in home runs. But his 2018 season was spectacularly bad. He set the all-time record for lowest batting average in a season for qualified hitters with a 168 average, and he also had the league lowest on-base percentage and slugging percentage at 243 and 296 respectively. To add insult to injury for the Orioles, he was still owed $57 million on his contract that is still being paid out until 2037. Gave up 2 grand slams in the same inning to the same player. Chan-Ho Park holds one of the most unfortunate MLB records, and certainly one that you don't want to break. He's the only pitcher to give up 2 grand slams in a single inning to the same player. Park wasn't a bad player by any means, and in the 1998 season, he had a 3.71 ERA and only had 0.65 home runs allowed per 9 innings, the 10th lowest of 96 qualified pitchers. But on April 23, 1999, history was made. Park was having a pretty decent game, helping the Dodgers hold a 2-0 lead against the Cardinals. But things went south fast, and bases were loaded with Fernando Tatis coming up to the plate. Tatis then hit his first grand slam, bringing the score to 4-2 and still no outs on the board. Park secured 2 outs, but after giving up another homer, consecutive walks, and another hit, bases were loaded again, with Tatis coming up for round 2. And on his insane 48th pitch of the inning, Park hung a breaking ball that gave Tatis his second grand slam of the inning, and history was made. And it's certainly unlucky for Park, who's now a holder of one of the worst records in MLB. Most strikeouts in a season as a batter. Mark Reynolds was known for 2 things: hitting absolute bombs and whiffing. In 2009, he did both of those things spectacularly, hitting a career best of 44 home runs, while simultaneously breaking the MLB record for most strikeouts in a season with 223. Despite breaking that record, Reynolds still batted a solid 260 that same season, but he also happened to have 4 straight seasons of being the most struck out batter in the league from 2008 to 2011, striking out 834 times out of 2,491 plate appearances, meaning during that 4-year time span, he struck out 33% of the time. Reynolds really was the epitome of a power hitter. Most losses in a season. In 2024, the Chicago White Sox broke the modern era MLB record for most losses in a single season. With 121 losses, they beat the record that was previously held by the Mets at 120 in the 1962 season. Their season was so bad that they were eliminated from the postseason in August, a whole 2 months before it even starts. There were a few reasons for it, but part of it was an extreme lack of offense. In 2024, the White Sox finished last in runs scored with 507, nearly 100 behind the closest team, the Rays, who had 604 runs. They also had the lowest team batting average in the league at just 221. Defensively, losing their star pitcher Dylan Cease didn't help either, and the White Sox gave up the 3rd most runs in the league at 813 and had the most walks at 643. To sum it all up, they lacked in pretty much every aspect of the game. Sorry, White Sox fans. Worst ERA in a season. Les Sweetland set the record for highest season ERA for qualified pitchers in 1930 while playing with the Phillies, ending the season with a disastrous 7.71 ERA over 167 innings pitched. He allowed 145 earned runs in just 167 innings. Opponents hit a ridiculous 364 against him, and his record that season was a tragic 7-15. The National League as a whole had a 4.97 ERA, but still, Sweetland's ERA plus was 71, meaning he was 29% worse than the average pitcher that season. If you enjoy baseball explainer videos, consider subscribing. It really helps me out. The worst start to a season. In 1988, the Baltimore Orioles had the worst start to a season of all time, going 21 straight games without a win. Not only was it the worst start to a season in history, it was the 2nd longest loss streak overall in modern MLB, only behind the 1961 Phillies, who had lost 23 games in a row. It was also the American League record loss streak, only being tied by the 2024 Chicago White Sox. And conveniently enough, the Chicago White Sox would be the team that the Orioles would beat on April 29th to end their loss streak. The Orioles would go on to end their season with 54 wins and 107 losses, the 5th worst overall franchise record. Most career wild pitches. Hall of Fame pitcher Nolan Ryan has broken many records. He has the most career strikeouts at 5,714, the modern era single season record for strikeouts at 383 in the 1973 season, and the most career no-hitters of all time at 7. But one record you wouldn't think he has is being the modern era leader for most career wild pitches at 277. Ryan started his pitching career with incredible velocity, but a lack of command made it difficult to be consistent. To put this into perspective, the 2024 leader for wild pitches was Mackenzie Gore, who had 14 wild pitches in 166 innings. Combine Ryan's pitching style of prioritizing strikeouts with his high velocity and the fact that he played for 27 seasons, then it starts to make sense why he has the most wild pitches. Hit by the most pitches. Craig Biggio holds the record as being the batter hit by the most pitches in his MLB career. Over his 20-season career, he was hit an insane 285 times. And this was seemingly part of his strategy, with many pitchers saying it seemed like he never tried too hard to get out of the way. And Biggio's strategy worked, helping bring him to a solid career on-base percentage of .363, breaking into the 400s multiple seasons. Unbelievably, he even managed to get hit 7 times with bases loaded, bringing in runs without needing to even swing his bat. Biggio has a ton of career accolades, including being a 7-time All-Star, 4-time Gold Glove winner, 5-time Silver Slugger winner, and he was inducted to the Hall of Fame in 2015. Maybe getting plunked 285 times was worth the temporary pain. Worst WAR in a season for a position player. Chris Davis's 2018 season wasn't just historically bad for batting average, it was destructively bad overall with a negative 3.3 WAR. WAR measures a player's total value compared to a replacement level player, and Davis's negative 3.3 means the Orioles would have been 3 wins better by playing a random minor leaguer instead. His career low season was a part of the reason why the Orioles finished 47 and 115 that year, the worst record in MLB. Most home runs allowed in a season. Hall of Fame pitcher Bert Blyleven holds the MLB single season record for most home runs allowed at 50 when he was pitching for the Twins in 1986. He allowed 50 home runs in 271 innings pitched, meaning he gave up a homer every 5.4 innings. Despite this, he still had a very respectable season, finishing with a 4.01 ERA and a 17-14 record. He even continued to play until 1992, ending his career with a 3.31 ERA, 287 wins, and 3,701 strikeouts. He also won 2 World Series titles in 1979 and 1987. Lowest career batting average. Bill Bergen was a catcher from 1901 to 1911, and during that time, he managed to secure himself the lowest career batting average ever for a batter with over 3,000 plate appearances. With 3,228 plate appearances, he managed to get a measly 516 hits and 2 home runs. Other stats include a career on-base percentage of 194, career slugging of 201, and an insane negative 16.2 F-WAR. The reason Bergen had such a long career was purely due to his defensive capabilities, leading the league in caught steals in 1906 and 1909. Regardless, having the MLB record for lowest batting average is certainly one of the worst records to hold. Longest postseason drought. From 1982 to 2011, then Montreal Expos and future Washington Nationals went on a 29-season drought without ever making it to the postseason, the longest in MLB history. Something that makes this even more depressing is the fact that the Marlins, who share a division with the Nats, didn't even exist until 1993, yet somehow they still managed to win 2 World Series titles in 1997 and 2003 before the Nats could even make it into the postseason. The drought finally ended in 2012 when the Nationals played the Cardinals in the NL Division Series before eventually losing 2-3. Most career losses. Hall of Famer Cy Young holds the MLB record for most career losses, and it makes sense when you look at his career. Young pitched for 22 seasons and started 815 games with an insane 92% completion rate. He pitched 7,356 innings over his career, which is another MLB record. For context, most starting pitchers make around 30 to 32 starts per season. Max Scherzer, one of the most durable modern pitchers, has averaged about 30 starts per year throughout his career and has only 173 total losses over 17 seasons. Cy Young's 316 losses also comes with 511 wins, the most of all time. When you consider his long career with how long he pitched when he did start, it makes sense how he grabbed the most losses. Most career blown saves. Hall of Fame reliever Goose Gossage was one of baseball's most intimidating closers, but he also failed to convert saves more than anyone in history, with a career 112 blown saves. Gossage did successfully convert 310 saves during his career, which was 4th all-time when he retired, leading to a 73.5% save conversion rate. Compare this to 2024, where top closer Ryan Helsley had 49 saves for the St. Louis Cardinals, but only had 4 blown saves out of 53 save opportunities. But Helsley also pitched 66 innings in 65 games, pretty much 1 inning each appearance. Gossage regularly entered with runners on base in the 7th or 8th inning and had to get 6+ outs. His 112 blown saves reflect the different era of relief pitching more than any actual failure. Most career strikeouts as a batter. Reggie Jackson has the most career strikeouts of any batter in MLB history at 2,597. Jackson led the league in strikeouts for 4 straight seasons, from 1968 to 1971, but he still hit big throughout his career. He was a 14-time All-Star, 4-time American League home run leader, and 5-time World Series champion, being the World Series MVP in 2 of them in 1973 and 1977. Worst run differential in a 162-game season. In 2023, the Oakland A's set the record for 162-game seasons with a negative 339 run differential. During the season, they managed to score only 585 runs while allowing 924 from opposing teams. To say the team lacked offensive power is an understatement. In 2023, the A's had the league-wide lowest batting average at 223, hits at 1187, and the second lowest on-base percentage at 298, behind only the White Sox at 291. The main thing that led to this was the A's front office's refusal to spend money to keep their stars, and in 2023, the team's payroll was just $62 million, the lowest in the entire league. The longest hitless drought to start a career. Jon Lester holds the MLB record for longest start to a career with 0 hits in 66 at-bats from 2006 to 2015. The thing is, Lester is actually a 5-time All-Star, 3-time World Series champion, and he was even the NLCS MVP in 2016. And if that sounds impossible, it's because Lester was a pitcher. On July 16, 2015, he broke his drought with a single in the 2nd inning off the foot of Cardinals pitcher John Lackey. Maybe not the worst record to have on the list, but it's still pretty silly. Longest losing streak in the modern era. The 1961 Phillies hold the MLB record for the longest losing streak at 23 straight L's before they were saved. The streak began on July 29th against the San Francisco Giants and didn't end until August 20th when they beat the Braves in Game 2 of a doubleheader. During the streak, the Phillies were shut out 4 times and held to 1 run 4 more times, and their team-wide batting average was just .231, well below the league average. The 1961 Phillies finished 47-107, 46 games behind first place. Their season percentage of .305 remains one of the worst in franchise history.